It's up there.
It is up
And
there.
they say people can they're looking at you from a window. Well, if it's above where the airplane's looking at, that must be a damn good telescope God's given everybody. When you get to heaven, you get the swag bag of your new drip, your new heaven outfit, and probably like a telescope.
Mm-hmm.
Those are probably like the two things you're handed because everybody has windows in heaven. And like if you're up in a plane, you look out that little window. You've heard the window seat.
Yeah.
Okay, you can't see
I
anything.
fight for that seat.
I'm fighting for my window seat life.
Yeah.
Yes.
Especially those long flights where you gotta sleep.
Exactly.
Window seat.
So you not only need a telescope that can penetrate all of the clouds, but also to see all the way down.
Yeah.
It must be good at telescopes. God must have his own elves up there making all these, or he's just doing one of these Doctor Strange things and creates
Is
it.
God Elvis or Elvis? Why did I say Elvis? Is he Elvis? Honestly, he is God Santa. With his elves, with his angels.
With his angels.
Well, I would probably say it's up somewhere,
Yes.
not up yours,
Not
somewhere.
yours. Yeah, somewhere.
There's this really interesting YouTube video that I saw, and I say this to explain my theory on where heaven is. It's not that big. It's not that big or mind blowing. It's to me, it's just in this other realm, this other place that we just cannot see, but it is there. And to me, this video opened my eyes. It is. I don't know physics too well.
Yeah.
It's Einstein, and this is physics professor explaining this phenomenon that Einstein sort of discovered and theorized about. And it's this extra realm or this extra element, if you will, that it's not just gravity that's at play. So there's this camera that's pointed down at where the physics professor is, and say his table's right here. He has this table, and in the middle, just like our bungee chair, like if you would think of that, just actually think about the bungee chair. There's this ring that acts like a table, and then there's this cloth that's stretched all around the outskirts of that table. So if you were to push your hand down, it would go back and forth because it's a cloth and it's kind of bouncy.
Yeah.
So what he's talking about is Einstein's concept of gravity. And if you think of the solar system, you think of the sun and all the other planets that are rotating around it. And that's really on the element and aspect of gravity. They are pretty much stuck around because of the sun's gravitational pull.
Yeah.
So again, we have a camera from above, and we have a camera here that we are watching. So we get to see this table here. And he says, all right, let's see this heavy bowling ball, and let's say that's the sun. It's such a heavy mass. Let's put it in the middle. So he puts it into the table, and because it's the way that the table is, the way that fabric is, it bends it like that. It's so heavy, it bends the fabric. Okay. Think of like the fabric of space and time, right? It bends that fabric. From above, again, all we see is this ball, like in the middle. You don't see the bend. You just see the ball. And then he gets this tennis ball, and he says, now watch this. He rolls the tennis ball into that fabric, and naturally, since there's a bend, if you think of like putting a dice down a spinner or a toilet bowl, you think it kind of rolls down.
Yeah.
The tennis ball is following that bend of that heavy bowling ball. And so from above, all we see is this big ball and this little one going around it. That's what we see in the solar system. Like that's all we see. We just see that. But from our perspective, we see this extra dimension almost of that fabric being bent.
Yes.
To me, that was just like mind-boggling. I don't know why I just explained the gravitational physics that I don't truly understand, but it was, I have to send you it. It is, to me, it was so eye-opening. I'm like, wow, there is so much more play in our lives, in our world that we don't know about.
Right.
And, you know, there's always these, like, a hurricane happens, and you see all the devastation, and you're like, why did this happen, God?
Yeah.
And I feel like my mom has always told me, well, we don't know. He has a purpose for everything. But he just destroyed, like, what? Like, can't he just stop the hurricane? And my mom was always like, well, like, there's a reason for everything, and like there's things that we can't see or comprehend that God does.
Yeah.
So I feel like that would be my answer. 10 minutes later, this is in another realm.
Sure.
That we can't see
from this perspective.
From our perspective.
Sure. Yeah, I do like that. You know, the way I've always envisioned heaven is, you know, and it might not be as such of a scientific answer as yours, but it's just things that my brain connected and made sense. It was, well, there's angels that Mary physically saw when they said, hey, you're going to bear the child of Christ. Okay. But there's not many depictions of angels in the Bible. We hear about people that became saints. We hear about the disciples. There's not many depictions of angels. But in some that there are, they've also depicted angels, like think of a guardian angel. It's like it's there, but you also can't see it.
Right. That used to terrify me.
Right.
I'm like,
well, going back to the Santa Claus element, it's kind of like Santa Claus. Yeah. He knows if you're naughty or nice.
Where?
Did he bug this house? Where are the cameras? Yeah. And it's like...
You get the Ring doorbell.
Yeah, the Ring doorbell. He just knows.
Yeah.
He just knows. And for many years, I actually wondered if, like, Santa and Christ work together. You know what I mean? Because, like, it makes sense.
A little joint venture.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So...
Selling data. He's selling our data.
Well, you know, Johnny was a pretty nasty kid this Christmas. Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe he's not going to make it. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Tentative. He's tentative.
So, yeah, I mean, with that there's angels that we're said are there, but they're not physically, like, they're next to you, but they're not, we can't see them. Okay, maybe it's the same thing with heaven.
Sure.
In a way. So, this isn't Wakanda where there's a force field that, like, you can't see it's actually there. No, it's a little bit more interdimensional than that.
Sure.